Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and get started right now. My name is Doug Wilson. I'm with the City of Cedar Rapids. I'm the Paving for Progress Program Manager. And that's our 1 cent local option sales tax funded street repair and rehabilitation project. And this is one of those projects that we're working on. I want to go ahead and give an opportunity to introduce our city staff that's here and our design staff that's here from Fairground. I'll start off with Nate, who's Fairground lead project.
I'm Nate Cass with Fairground, the consulting engineer. We've been asked to do design on projects. With me, Alex Bauer and Cody Bell up in the corner.
Alan Lindelof with the City Community Development Department.
Brandon Small with Water Engineering.
John Witt with Traffic Engineering.
Jennifer Selby with Paving for Progress. Emily Nowak with City Communications.
My name is Matt Myers. I'm with Traffic Engineers as well as the city.
And my name is Nick Correa. I'm a project coordinator with the city.
Sarah Cook with the City of Cedar Rapids, work on acquisitions of property owners.
My name is Amanda Vandervoort. I'm with the city as well, and I also work with property owners for acquisitions, temporary businesses for my business.
So tonight we have the same materials at each and every table. What we'll do is we'll have a staff member or design consultant staff member come and sit down after we complete the presentation and answer questions about the project. Usually if there's a need, if we still have people here, we'll report back about what was discussed at each table at about 6:20, and then at 6:30 the meeting adjourned. Now, I know road construction can be a pain, it can be loud, noisy, difficult, inconvenience. Part of the reason why we're here tonight, particularly for people who live in the corridor, we want to know if you have any accessibility needs, special events that could possibly come up in the next couple of years. It is a couple of years at least before we do this project. But we're here to get your feedback today, make sure that we can maintain access to people as much as possible during the project. And for the people who don't live in the corridor, we do take everything that we get here from the people, all the comments, and take them into consideration. We move forward with the design. Obviously, this street, we wouldn't necessarily be looking at closing this down completely. There really isn't a good detour at all, so this would be done under traffic, this project. So what is Paving for Progress? As I mentioned, it's our local option sales tax funded street rehabilitation and reconstruction program. It's a data-driven strategic plan where we've got conditions on every single street in the city. We got our second round of data actually last year and issued a revised plan here a couple weeks ago. But we take that data, look at the condition of all the streets, try to get as many rehabilitated streets to rehabilitate, streets for maintenance, and a mix of reconstruction. This would be a street that we're looking at probably rehabilitation on. But one thing I like to make sure people understand is, I get the question, why aren't you doing the worst roads only? Well, if we only did the worst streets with the funding we had available, actually at the end of the 10 years that we have this local option sales tax, the average condition of our roads would be worse. So we do have a strong mix of rehabilitation, reconstruction, and maintenance. Maintenance is a smaller part of what we're doing, about 20% of the overall projects, but about a 40-40 split then on rehabilitation and reconstruction. And as it said, does stop the deterioration of the roads. Based on the information we have at the end of the 10 years, we will have stopped decreasing the condition of our roads and gotten it pretty much all in a good to fair condition point at that point in time. This is a very unique funding source for us here in the city. We're extremely happy that the voters decided to allow us to use this money for our streets. Most cities don't have that. It's $180 million over the 10-year period, $18 million annually. We average maybe $6 to $8 million expenditures on streets via general obligation bonds before we had this. So what this does for us is allows us to pay as we go. We don't have to go into debt and sell bonds to work on our streets, and more than doubles, or in some cases triples the amount of money we get to spend each year on our streets. So it's a great program. Extremely happy to have the support of the voters who voted for the low option sales tax. This is a map of the projects that we've got in the first 3 years of the project, from 2014 to 2018. As you can see, we're working throughout the city, and I imagine here coming into our third construction season, third year of the program, fourth construction season, you've seen some of the work we've been doing throughout the city. One of the bigger jobs we're doing out here this year, but you wouldn't know it because unless you live back there, lived in this area, you'd never go back there, but we're rebuilding 14th Avenue Southeast from 36th Street to 42nd Street. That street was affected in the flash flooding in 2014. Took off all that old asphalt right off the top of it. The underlying concrete was past saving, and that's the street that we're reconstructing out here this year. We'll have Memorial Drive next year. Another course for Memorial is in the program. We completed McCarthy Road last year. Next couple of years, we'll work on 12th Avenue from where McCarthy ends back down to Newbo. And we do have pieces of Mount Vernon Road other than this one in the program from McKinley basically up to Memorial Drive. So a lot of work out in this part of town. But also our city crews are working on the local building block. And they do quite a bit of work for us. They rebuilt a section of Mansfield Avenue last year, and they've done some other overlays on blocks in the neighborhoods the past couple of years. So where are we right now in the process? We're at the concept level. We'd like to get out here and talk to folks early on in the process, get their feedback on projects, get their ideas before we make any plans. We certainly want to make sure that we hear you. Take your comments into consideration as we move forward. Depending on the project, we do have a second public meeting. I'm not sure we'll do that with this one. It's a fairly straightforward project, although the lane reconfigurations that we're looking at is something a little bit different. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Nate, who's going to talk in detail about this project in particular. Thank you.
Thanks for coming tonight. Hopefully you find this informative. As he said, a big part of this project is the pavement rehabilitation. We don't want this road, because it carries so many vehicles per day, we do not want it to get to a point where it does require reconstruction. That would be very disruptive to not only the residents, but everybody else that uses it every day. So with that, we have done a lot of preliminary work. There was a comprehensive plan or a conceptual plan. Some of you may be participating in some of those discussions as well. A lot of that information is being taken under consideration as we work towards plans for this road. There's also an accident history that it's always tracked, but unfortunately not every accident gets reported. So we are aware that there are a lot more that actually happen than we even have record of. So what do we want to do as part of this project? We're going to basically grind off the top layer of the asphalt that's there now and replace it with a new layer. Along with that, one of the things we can do with because it'll have a new surface and we can put down new lane striping, we're looking at doing a conversion. I'll get into that in a little bit. But one of the things they look at with every paving progress project is what's underneath. Well, specifically on this project, the water main has been identified as undersized. So we're looking to replace that. Everybody is aware of the tower just east of this project. So we'd be installing a connection under this portion. It's going to be much bigger diameter main than what is there today. We'll also be addressing any of the non-compliant sidewalks. All the crosswalks are required to meet federal guidelines, the ADA rules, and then with the conversion that I'll talk about here in just a second, we will be making some changes to the traffic signals. Specifically at 38th and East Post, And we will also be evaluating at 42nd with that light. So I mentioned the conversion.
Wait, what about the lights have to be improved? What's wrong with the traffic lights?
I'm talking about that right now. Because of the accident history, we're looking at multiple options in order to improve that safety. How can we keep the free flow of traffic and getting those turning cars kind of out of the way? Well, if we don't widen the street, we have limited options. So what we're considering at this point is we would keep one westbound lane and convert the other lane to a two-way left turn lane. So that could be used by traffic going in both directions. And then we would keep two eastbound lanes. So that's where the upgrades to the traffic signals would come into play. Because obviously, if we reconfigure those lanes, it would impact any arrows or the green balls on any of the traffic signals. So obviously, the main driving force for that would be improving safety. Anytime you have stop traffic, waiting to turn, that's something, there's a lot of rear end accidents, and then at high beam, there are a lot of turning accidents. If we don't change the width of the road, then there's limited impact to the adjacent owners. We don't have to go get easements. We aren't taking additional width between the sidewalk and the existing curb as it is today, so you don't lose your front yard, things like that. It also utilizes that existing curb and gutter that's already in place, and it accomplishes the paving for progress goal, which is to improve the driving surface. And if we aren't changing the width of the road, we aren't completely reconstructing, that would be the most economical way to handle it. The biggest downfall to all this is the fact that it doesn't improve, or I should say it limits the capacity of how many vehicles can travel on this road every day. Now with this conversion, a lot of people think that it actually reduces the capacity. This would not change or actually improve the capacity because we're getting those stopped cars out of the way of the cars that want to continue through. If you have questions on that, we do have a number of engineering staff here that hopefully can better explain that than I'm going into right now. I don't want to go into too much detail for everybody, but if you have questions on that, feel free to ask. As part of the overall master plan, you maybe heard some ideas for widening the road, maybe get it to a 5-lane section. That would require new curb and gutter on at least one side, depending on whether we do the bare minimum for widths or we could go to the preferred widths for lanes. It would definitely impact on if it would be all on one side or possibly both sides. I want to stress that's not what we're looking at here today or what we're looking at building here in the immediate future, but that's part of the reason why you guys are here too. We want to get your feedback. As far as when construction is planning to take place, as mentioned, we're only in that preliminary design phase right now. We've just barely started to scratch the surface on exactly what we want to do. Meetings with the city staff on the data that they've accumulated up to this point. And they've been giving us that information so we can incorporate that into the design. We plan to actually apply for a grant from the DOT in August, so we want to have our plans done going into early fall, so that we can get that grant application off to pay for some or all of the traffic signals. That would put us in a position to send it out for the bids from contractors this winter, and then we can start construction in the spring. Get it done next summer. It's already been mentioned that we do want to keep this project open to traffic for the duration. Our ultimate goal is to keep at least one lane in each direction going throughout construction. So what we would do is, if you look on the maps there, we would keep the new water main off to one side or the other. We wouldn't put it right down the middle that would close off the whole street or anything like that. There's a lot of different things that we have to take into consideration with that. Where is the storm sewer? Where is the sanitary sewer? Where are other utilities? How close are we to existing property lines and so on? There's a number of different factors that could limit us on where we can actually place that main during design. So if you have questions on why is it there, feel free to ask. We'll do our best to answer that tonight. As far as the order in which things go, obviously we need to do the underground utilities first. That would probably be the most disruptive. Then we'd come in and grind that layer of asphalt off, put the new layer down. And again, we'd keep at least two lanes of traffic open is our goal. If something catastrophic was to happen during construction, we'd have to deal with that, but that would be unplanned. But as it is right now, it does look like we would be able to keep at least one lane open in each direction throughout the next summer. So unless there's any other, general questions here right now, we're going to split the staff up and have somebody at each table.
Oh, I was just going to ask on the design, which side of the street is the water line on that you're going to replace?
There's actually lines on both sides now. And the new larger main, we're looking to put it on the north side at this point. Yes, sir.
What about coordination with Lynn County? Because going out of town, there's only one lane each way, and you've got two lanes running into that.
Yes, the county is actually going to be doing a project this summer.
You're gonna widen it to 2 lanes all the way to Highway 13.
Doug, do you know the details on that, or John?
It's going to have, the county is going to be doing a 3-lane section, so they're going to have a center 2-way left turn lane all the way from East Post Road, all the way out to Highway 13. Well, they'll actually stop kind of right by the Casey's there, right before Highway 13, and then 1 lane in each direction. And then we're coordinating with them, so our cross-section ties into theirs right at East Post Road. So obviously you saw the 2 lanes going eastbound there, the 1 lane, it'll be a lane drop at East Post Road. Currently there is nothing to the south, but when that develops, then there will be that lane that goes in.
The county is looking to do their construction this summer, whereas our project would be the following summer, summer of 18. Yes, sir.
The corner of East Post and Mount Vernon now is 3 lane. You're suggesting funneling down westbound to 1 lane, so there's the 3 lanes on the east side of East Post intersection become a right turn only. Otherwise, you're going to have 2 lanes there going west.
You know, maybe we could sit down and answer
Yeah.
that specifically at the table, if that's all right.
I think others might want to hear that answer.
Well, I don't know the answer right off the top of my head without looking at it a little closer. But, we can sit down and certainly. Hello.